In this video, I'm going to show you how to change this into this. So stick around. First, we're going to start with the entrance area for our players, or in this case, it will be the hunters. I am currently setting this board up for a game of Hametsu, which is a feudal Japanese themed game. This will be the starting area, so I'm just going to put some fencing down for the entrance to our village, and here is going to be the perfect spot for our first bit of core terrain. And for that, we're going to use the GCT Studio's The Mountain Village. This set has 4 buildings in it. It has one broken down house, 2 complete houses, and a it's like a shed or a storage area. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. The first building I want people to see as they're entering into the gaming table is this broken down one. That will give the atmosphere that the village has been attacked or it's abandoned, that sort of thing. It's a nice simple little build as well, and the fact you get 4 buildings in this kit is fantastic, and it's going to be the core or the main feature of our village. What I'm doing here is cutting out some A4 sheets of paper for the door panelling. I will quickly just stick in the roof together. As you can see, this one's got a bit of battle damage to it. Just checking that the door will slide open and closed. And then we're just going to stick this rear door frame on. Door working. Good. And we're going to attach the roof in, or the Wookiee there. Bit of super glue should do the job. And I'm just going to put on the roofing plinths on the top. And that should be our first building done. We want to place that fairly close with the broken side or the damaged side facing the players. And that's the first building from the kit. So we're just playing around with a bit of scatter terrain here to get general spacing for the board. We should crack on now with the next buildings. So the next ones we're doing are the 2 complete buildings. I'm only going to show building 1 because building 1 is exactly the same as building the second. However, in the first one there was a couple of errors that I made, so I corrected them in the second building. They wasn't quite clear in the instructions. What it is these outer sort of wooden decoration that go on the front and the back. If you don't cut them down just a little bit, when you put the roof on, it won't fit correctly. So that's all I've done here. The side pieces though, you can leave at the correct height, like so. It won't make any difference to the roof fitting nice and snug. Looking good, so we just need the doors, windows and the roofing on. This is the central platform for the roof. This is the Wookiee fur. We're just going to comb that the correct way. And you can give these a little bit of a trim when you're finished as well. Super glue does the job nicely here. Looking good. So we're just going to attach the 2, I think plinths to the top of it, which will be to hold the roof intact. These are quite good because models can actually sit on the top of these as well. Just going to push them down, and then we'll start making the doors. This is just some A4 paper with a bit of glue on. We'll attach the front and back of the door pieces, and then we'll do the exact same for the windows. And then we can just glue them in. Now we can do the front door frame. We'll attach that to the building, and then before we attach the rear door frame, we'll make sure that the door is in there, and it seems to move. Yes, it does move. And then put the roof on, and there's our 2 buildings done. So we'll put one in the top right hand corner. We'll just add some fencing around to give it sort of a back garden sort of feel, just to separate the terrain. And then we'll do the same with the other building in the bottom left corner. Like so. Our final building, which we are going to use in the top left corner of the board, is going to be this sort of like storage shelter area. So this is a nice simple one as well. Basically it's got 4 legs with a roof on it, so things can be stored under there. As you'll see later on, that we're going to put something under there to bring it a bit more to life. As far as the roofing goes, it's the same as the other 3 buildings. And then this is now ready to enter the board. So we have our 4 core buildings on the board. Feel like the middle needs something, so we're going to use a small Japanese house that I built in a previous video, and we're going to put that right in the middle, and this will act as like where the village leader lived, or the person in charge of the village they were. So this is the board so far. Now we're going to add our soft terrain, which will be our trees and bushes. So we're going to put any of the taller trees that we have towards sort of the, I want to say the back of the board, or the back and the sides of the board. And we'll go for some shorter trees more towards the central of the board. So it's just a case of putting down where you think they'll sit, and then moving them around as you start to add other terrain to the board. So now we're bringing in the shorter trees, and these are a different style of tree, and we're just going to play with them. What we want to do is try and break up some of the hard lines on the scenery, and break up some more of the line of sight, and give players more opportunities to hide from enemies or break line of sight up. The best thing to do is put them down where you think, and then try and predict where players will be wanting to go, and make sure that they've got a clear path to that destination, but not necessarily a clear straight line. We want them to sort of weave in and out with the terrain and make it a little bit more interesting. But what we've done here is we've managed to create sections on the board in almost every corner, where we're going to encourage people to go and explore those areas, as opposed to just wanting to stick to one side of the board. And we'll just add some bushes to break up a bit of the terrain. Just a case of figuring out where they feel like they're going to fit best. We don't necessarily want to block any paths up that players might want to take. We don't want it to be too difficult for someone to get to their objective. There you go, that'll break a bit of line of sight up. And this is how we're looking so far with the soft terrain down. Next we're going to work on the entrance area. Just going to add a bit of scatter terrain throughout the board. These items are from a nice little, well, 2 kits from TNT Combat, some Eastern Empire scatter terrain. They've got some stone lanterns in there and a few other odds and sods, and we're just going to scatter these around the board where we feel like they fit best. So the guy who lives at the house in the middle, who was going to be like the leader of this village, obviously he wants to feel quite important, so his house is going to be a little bit more pimped up than everyone else's, so we're going to give him a couple of little statues and a little Zen garden. We'll move these trees out of the way to make sure it lines up nicely. And then we've got some nice little stone lanterns we painted up. It's going to add a bit more character to the scenery. And these are some logs. I couldn't tell you where I got them from, I've had them for ages. And we're just going to place them underneath this storage area to make it look like they've been cutting down trees and this is where they've been storing the wood. And we've got a little broken down cart there, which will fit nicely with that area because it looks like that's what they'll have been using to bring the wood around. Each section of the board or these areas want to tell a little story. Like here we're going to put this little shop front outside this house to show like there was a trader that lived there. And we're just going to add some barrels, which clearly shows he's got some stock. And we're going to add a little statue to his back garden. And these sort of areas are probably where you'd want to put like a loot token down if your game requires anything like that. So I think we'll do the same for the other corner as well, because we've got another one of these statues, and I think we'll be putting 2 loot tokens down in this game. So we'll probably put them near the statues because there's a good chance that people left valuables there or offerings to the statue, and that's where they might find something. And then we're going to add these stumps, which are 3D printed, and this fits in nicely with the board because we've got that little wood cutting area, and it's just going to fill up a few of these empty spots. This just sort of shows how important basic scatter terrain can be. We're just filling up these gaps and even blocking off certain areas. So we're just going to put a few more around, especially around the area where the wood cutting might have been done. This will also give players the chance to hide behind things to block line of sight between enemies. It's just another little stone lantern I had. I thought I'd put that near the front. And so far it's looking pretty good. So these are the tokens that I need for this game of Hametsu, which I'm setting the board up for. These are like hidden, so these are areas where people may hide from the enemies. So we're just going to place them around the 4 core buildings in every corner. And these are areas where players can hide. And then we've got 2 loot tokens that we're going to stick near our statues behind each one of our complete houses. And that's it.